What's going on, everybody? LK here, back at it again with another video, and today, Dragon Balls. So, are your combos good enough for this game? One thing about this game is that people are really obsessed with optimizing their combos. Combos are probably one of the easiest things to practice in training mode. If you go on, like, let's say Twitter and you search hashtags for Dragon Ball FighterZ, so what people have done actually is that you can go and search like hashtag, I believe base G is like BG, BVG, or Trunks should be like TNK. So DBFZ, TNK, you can look up tech that people post for the character. And when you do this, you will see it's about 98 to 99% combos for almost all the characters. People practice combos a lot in this game. But what does it mean? Like, does that actually matter? Are your combos good enough? Remember that the first World Tour champion was greatly criticized for his combo selection. Specifically, he didn't really go for like super fancy, super optimal combos. His combos were probably about like 70 to 75%. We're talking, of course, about Kazunoko, aka Kazunoko combos, Kazuno combos, etc, etc, etc. So what do you actually need then as far as combos? And by the way, I get this a lot, especially when I'm learning characters and stuff, but I play them in tournaments. Like, while I'm learning characters, I play them in tournaments. So it's very common to see comments where people are like, oh my god, okay, you could have done this, or like, why didn't you do this? I didn't know the combo. How do you choose what combo is actually important to learn? And the way you do this is you have to rank it by what the combo actually does for you. So setting up situations and getting setups aside, your combos need to be built in a certain order. So for example, the most extreme type of punishment you could do to somebody is just killing them with Touch of Death. Touch of Death is the most extreme punishment in the entire game. That means they lose a character, obviously, but that means they lose an assist, they could lose a neutral assist, mix-up assist, combo extension, which means their damage is overall lower. Them losing the character has a lot of negatives, besides just they're down 1 point in the game. The opponent will think much more about, say, tagging if you kill the character off the tag, rather than like, oh, you do just like a BNB or whatever. Or if your opponent guard cancels. Your opponent, if you do like 50%, like, yeah, okay. Or if you punish guard cancel with jab, yeah, okay. But if you kill them, it will mean a lot more. If your opponent whiffs a reflect, is another example. If your opponent whiffs a reflect, like, yeah, that's okay. But if you kill them instead with a really good starter, it'll have much more impact long term on the opponent. So next up will be level 3. So in season 2, the second most extreme type of punishment you can get is snap. The snap is like, there's a lot of ways you can describe it. You can describe it as a level 3 that doesn't cost any meter. You can describe it as a level 3 that costs a bar. You can describe it as forcing a 2-touch situation on the opponent. There's a lot of ways you can describe snap, especially if the opponent actually optimizes snap, but generally this is not the case, as we all know. But as of right now, as of this video, snap is not at that level yet, I would say, so it would be level 3. The cases where this comes up, you put them in a spot where ideally they have to block some type of extreme mix-up where they will die if they get hit, so it's quite a severe punishment. So an easy example of this would be, okay, I punish with the strongest thing I got. Okay, I toss him up, and here, it goes without saying, if he gets hit by the next mix-up, he's dead, for sure, he's dead. So that reflect means way more. If you aren't punishing reflect whiffs with mediums, definitely get used to doing it, because you have to make them really feel the impact. If I chose to do instead this starter, which is a light starter, okay. How much less damage it does. Of course I get a little damage boost here. It is questionable. Likely, but questionable whether or not I'll kill him depending on what happens. And of course, this is just base Vegeta. Like, there are examples of other characters where this comes up a lot with Trunks, for example, where you might not necessarily kill them if you don't start with the best punish. So in these cases, when you get opportunities to punish with mediums, go for it. Go for it, go for it. If you can't kill, do as much as you can, build as much meter as you can, and level 3 them, and force them to make some type of hard choice where they're like, they have to take a big risk or guess your 50-50 to survive. So of course, third and technically last would be slide knockdown. I'm not gonna count soft knockdown because at this point, like, nobody really tries to go for soft knockdown. And of course, the main thing with slide knockdown is that the opponent has many layers of defense and options they could use to escape your offense. They could up tech, they could neutral attack, they could delay down. When you delay down, you can vary your wake up timing and do all sorts of things on wake up, like wake up dash, wake up reflect, wake up mash. You usually have to spend extra resources, aka assist, to try to cover as many options as you can, and still you generally have to watch out for reflect too. So this is a pretty rough one. It's a common one in just that, like, generally when you get hits, you aim for sliding knockdown, but if you can get something better, you should always pick that thing. The only real exception is that there are times when, let's say the opponent has a sparking resource left. If you have 3 bars for level 3, that would be like the only time I would choose not to do level 3, because you don't want to have 0 bars when your opponent isn't sparking, because obviously you're way more vulnerable to like sparking vanish and stuff without meter. So that would be like the only exception. Besides that, like if you have the resources, so usually if I have 4 bars, I'll level 3 or do something like swap characters in level 3, stuff like that. Slide knockdown, when you have to do it, yeah, but the other two are definitely better if you could do them. So honorable mention here will be our good old friend Snap. So in season 2, Snap was really close to touch of death. It's like maybe like 1 point difference to touch of death, especially if you are playing against somebody who had truly optimized the situation. So I've talked about it a few times, but the Team Gohan, GT, SSJ, Goku, hit them, snap, Universal Fuzzy, Spirit Bomb. If they don't spark, they're dead. Or hit them, snap again. If that mix-up hits, dead. So the main difference between Touch of Death and Snap is that Touch of Death is literally just 1 touch. With Snap, it's 3 touches. Most people want to kill in 2 touches, but the character you're aiming to kill will die in 2. So that's the only reason, the main reason why I would have Snap under Touch of Death. Now, in this version of the game, there is variable timing on incoming, and like I said, as of right now, there are not too many solutions for dealing with Snap at the moment. I assume there are people working on it, and I would not be too surprised if people would hide it until, hide some stuff until tournaments, like offline events, start like popping up again. Like let's say, hopefully in like October or something like that. The person who does figure out ways with like strong characters to do it definitely has a huge advantage, I think, because it makes your normal hits, as I said before, like similar weight to level 3, except you're giving your opponent technically an extra chance to be hit. Since people are generally choosing to return to neutral and try to win to neutral again, that 8-second timer to get your assist back actually doesn't mean that much. Like generally, if the person who snapped touched the character that came in, by the time they did that, you might not even have time to do 1 mix-up. That's how it is right now. This is something we'll revisit later in the year, but this is kind of why it's an honorable mention. It's kind of low on people's priority lists right now, but over time, it might become like a really strong option again. So that's it for today. Are your combos good enough? Is this the way you're building your routes, thinking about your routes, thinking about your punishes, selecting things? This will help you out a lot, especially as the game is right now. There's a lot of having to deal with various strong defensive options. So when you do get your hits, you gotta make them count. When you do get your 2Hs, you gotta make them count. If you're not killing, you got to at least do a ton of damage and put them into as bad of a situation as possible. I think if you look at the team I'm playing right now, you really notice like that's at the forefront. I tried to think of like how to do this like in a quick like 1 week, 2 week type of thing. The base of this team, pardon the pun, is punishment. Punishment is key. Let me know if you have any questions. Leave any questions in the comments. Like and subscribe if you feel like it, and I'll see you next time. Peace out.